All right, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours here on Monday, February the 13th. The first thing I want to say is, remember, tomorrow we're actually doing the office hours at 4 o'clock Eastern. Okay, a different time tomorrow than the usual 11 a.m. That has already been there in the 123 Profit members training area for a while, so that's nothing new. Profit pork ribs, 123 pork ribs. That's funny. Profitmembers.com. And it should be already in there. Okay, so let's just log in. Click to log in. And then in the registration and updates area, you will see the right here, 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay, you see here the Fast Cash Bootcamp on Saturday that we did. If you were under a rock or something and you didn't get the email, you didn't check the announcements, you didn't show up to the webinar, you didn't go to the office hours where we announced this thing like 87 times, there is a replay of it right here. We went on for 3 hours, start to finish, picking an offer, setting up a page live, going over things. I made a couple mistakes along the way too. So hopefully that was refreshing to see that, like, even in my life, like I'm not perfect at making pages myself, but I thought it was really well done. And you guys, combined with the training and the webinars, that should have put it all together and give you guys a really good picture. Okay, part 2 is to be announced. As I mentioned, going to be starting some ads on that page that I created. And then, we'll follow up in a few weeks' time and we'll see where we landed. Okay, and the next part of that bootcamp will be going really over the ads and optimizations. What did I do to get our conversion rate up? What did I do when I wasn't profitable out the gate, which is probably a likely scenario? How did I turn it from not profitable to profitable, and so on and so forth? Okay. One of the things that has happened is, if you've been living under a rock, the opt-in page that you see here for Send Pad works really well on on Chrome, sorry. But if you go to an incognito window, I don't know what it is. It doesn't show. Okay. The reality is 99.99999% of people are going to click on your ad in a regular window. So that's fine. But I guess I heard from the team, there's really no fix on that, just the current way that the code is written. This is what's called an iframe, which means that we're literally framing the form that actually exists on a separate website, then it gets framed right here. Okay, that's how it works. It's more complicated than that, but that's like the basic way of explaining it. What we're going to do in the next coming days is actually have like an HTML code that goes right here, so it'll work better. It's still very functional. Honestly, it's not like the garbage that we have experienced with the mobile responsiveness on the pages. But anyways, that was the update on there. Mobile responsiveness, I heard they released a patch again today. They were just telling me about. So we go to tools, developer tools. Thought I just clicked that, didn't I? Developer tools. Perfect. You can see it definitely at least is functional on a page. And actually, let me see. I'll go on my phone here and see if I can put it up to the screen. And okay, hold on one sec. Survey locator USA.com/RTO-step-3. I don't know how to spell. Sorry, guys. Let's see if it looks reasonable on my actual phone. Sorry, it's just loading out. There we go. And honestly, it looks pretty good. I mean, the form, they're working on this. That's the next pass. But honestly, I don't know if you can actually see this. Hold on. Let me see my face here. Move. Can you? Oh, let's scroll down. Look. So first of all, this text here that was like garbage before is now fine. The hamburger issue on the mobile that people were complaining about, the footer is now at the bottom, right? So it's functional. Can it be better? Yeah, like this opt-in box should be a little bit bigger, and so on, but it's close. Okay, so appreciate you guys sticking with us on that. Like I said, on ads, you could just run desktop, but honestly, this is a functional enough page to run on mobile. I swear to God, people will see the title, they'll click on it, when they click on it, you can see it actually zooms into the form, right? For people to enter their name and stuff. So it's really close, really, really close. Okay, so those are the two updates I had there. And then we will see you on Wednesday from module 5. I can't believe we're already at module 5. We're gonna have some exciting announcements on that module as well, okay? Actually, the first question I'm looking at from Deborah is, when will mobile be fixed? All right, so there, it's pretty fixed. I would give it a 90, maybe 80, 88.3% fixed, just to be random. It's pretty fixed, okay? The form could be a little bigger, but it's functional now. It scrolls properly. That hamburger issue people were complaining about on the footer, that's gone. So it's really, really close. We have a special task force team specific to the mobile responsiveness. I have updates with them every day. I have another demo Wednesday morning. So my marching orders, those guys worked hard all over the weekend, free overtime, which I don't want to really give them pity because, let's be honest, probably should have been fixed in the first place, right? But long story short, Wednesday morning, I have another demo with them. So, the ask is to, make the form a little bigger, make the text a little bit better as well, but it's pretty darn close, guys. It's very, very good. You can run ads to it at this moment in time. I would be comfortable saying run ads and you're fine, okay? For financial planning purposes in my business, I'm just going to do a full Q&A today. I'm hoping when I have a call tomorrow, actually, in the morning to have more updates that we can maybe look at mobile a little bit more closely. But I just did 3 hours of a webinar on Wednesday, so there's not really much for me to demo. I think I've demoed the heck out of everything that I could possibly demo just like, 2 days ago, right? So we'll just do a Q&A here, and I'm actually going to try and keep it to about 30 minutes today. My voice, man, I swear to God, I got sick last 12 days ago now. I could start feeling that sort of like, the little drip down the back of your throat and like the clearing of the throat and a little cough. And I was like, okay, whatever, I'll be sick for the 90th time this winter. And so Friday though, I had, like I said, I think I had laryngitis. I had no voice. I've never had that experience before. Like I was like, I could not talk. All Friday, all Saturday, I was really worried because I had office hours Monday, and then I had to do training videos Wednesday, and I had the Saturday coming up. Like, what am I going to do? But by Sunday afternoon, it was a little better, and Monday it was pretty decent. But I've just had this like sore, lingering throat for like 10 or 11 days. And, after Saturday's session, and then yesterday I was at like a friend's house watching the Super Bowl, which I told you guys the Chiefs would win the Super Bowl. So hopefully you put some money on that. But I was just, again, this morning, just this hoarseness. So I'm really trying to I don't know, it's like a singer, So I think just the combination of being sick and then talking so much, it's just like my voice box just needs a rest, Not looking for sympathy there, but it's been sore. There's Mel. You won your bet. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I will give credit. I called the Eagles frauds. I was like, they haven't played anyone good. I would have liked to see if that ticky-tack holding flag didn't get called for all the Eagles fans on here. I'm with you. I thought you just can't throw that flag at that point in the Super Bowl for such a minor offense on a ball that was wildly overthrown. Chiefs kick a field goal there, 38-35. Eagles get the ball back with, minute 40 on the clock. I wanted to see what Jalen Hurts could do because, God, that guy had a heck of a Super Bowl, one of the best performances you've ever seen. So Chiefs got a little lucky from the refs there, but nonetheless, it was a really good game. Okay, the expectation for the 1-2-3 model is really to be profitable. We're going to cover that this week. I guess that's something that could have been covered a little earlier. I always learn on the training, right? You do these trainings and you're like, I think it's perfect. And then questions come up and it's like, ooh, I guess I could have covered that. But look, the point of this model period is to make money. Let's be honest, right? But your guys are paying for ads. So you're not going to spend like $1 to make $3. You're not going to spend 100 on ads to make 300 on the front end. It's hard to do that. I mean, you could, but it's going to be rarer. In this situation, what we're trying to do is we're trying to build an email list, right? And that email list is something we own. We can mail over and over and over and over and over again. The reason I like doing that is offers come and go. You start running an offer on Microsoft, you spend $100. If you don't collect the email, you could have a good day where, let's say I didn't want to collect email, right? And I just had a page like this. And if they clicked the button, they go to the max bounty, or not the max, the rent to own offer, right? So I send an ad to this page, they click on a button, and the next page after is the offer. It's not this opt-in page. So you go Microsoft ad, bridge page, CPA offer. Sure, you have a barrier removed because you're not asking for somebody's name and email, which does actually cause friction, okay? 30% of people will enter their name and email, but maybe if you had a page that looked like this, you'd actually get 50 or 60% to click on that button. But what happens if I even have twice the amount of people to click on the button instead of giving me the email is there'll be some days where you might make money. I might spend like $100 to make 150 and great, I'm up $50. And then the next day I spent $100 to make 40 or something. And I lost $60, but I collected no email. I have nothing to show for it. So it's really challenging to me where I don't have the ability to actually build something that I control in the back end. And that's why putting the email on your page is super beneficial because the lead that comes in is going to be worth a lot more in the long run. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. How many contacts have to be collected in your how many contacts have you collected in your autoresponder over the years? Millions. Okay. Millions. That doesn't mean I have millions now because as you're going to learn this week, you do segment people and you don't keep, we delete people that have been on our list for 30 days, but have never opened an email because they're useless. You pay, autoresponders always charge you for the amount of contacts you have on your list. So if I had 2 million contacts on my list, but only like 300,000 ever open my emails, why would I want to keep the extra 1.7 million contacts? It's just a waste of money, right? So you'll learn that this week. Why do I use incognito? I only use incognito when I'm using a VPN for spying on offers, because that's like really the only time that it actually is beneficial. So you're right. I know there's people like, it doesn't work in incognito. You're right, but like nobody uses incognito. So when you're running an ad, most people are going to go and they're going to go to bing.com and they're going to type in like, let's just say how cheap rent to own homes. And they're going to click on an ad. Okay. And they're going to do it in this window. They're not going to do it on incognito. So your form's going to work fine. So it's not even really a problem. Yeah. Why do I use incognito? It's because VPNs. Yeah. Wouldn't it be easier to make a landing page from the template versus a blank page? That's another thing you could do. The templates actually are all mobile responsive. So you could technically create a page and you could, for example, I could create this and we can go, test example 01 here or something, right? And if I actually publish this and I was to make this look mobile, oops, more tools, developer tools. You can see how nice this looks on mobile phone, right? So these are all mobile responsive to templates. So you could do that. I'm not sure what's going to happen here if I start adding stuff to the template. For example, I'm like, oh, I want to add in an image here. I'm going to put an image. Is that going to be mobile responsive? I actually can't speak to that. So you might want to test that out yourself. But, Gary does make a good point. You could use these templates and sort of just maybe edit the templates and see if that does a better job for you. So that would work. Please clarify the difference between native and contextual ads. I guess I could make a video on that because I have covered it over time, but you could just hover over here. For example, if you hover over, it tells you, and it's ads integrated into content. A native ad, I mean, honestly, you guys can ask all these questions. The only thing you need to know is search. You're running search and email. So the other stuff doesn't matter. So it's like, I'll explain it to you, but it doesn't really matter. A contextual ad is a pop over. So if I'm on like CNN.com and let's say I click on a link here, right? And it pops open a new window, but underneath will pop under an ad. That's a contextual ad. And some websites will allow that. I'm just giving you an example. Obviously, nothing happened, nothing popped under here, but let's assume that happens. And the native ad is like promotional content that you'll see on, there you go, like here, paid partner content, okay? This is, these are native ads, okay? And they're usually like catchy, the shocking revelation. You're like, oh my God, what is this? So when you click on that, actually look, did a pop under happen? No, it didn't. But this is an ad, right here. You can even see advertiser disclosure. Okay. So you pay for that click to like advertise right there. Okay. And let's close down that cesspool of a media outlet called CNN. They're both cesspools, Fox, CNN, they're all cesspools, but I don't want that. I don't want to give them any advertising revenue for having the page open on my computer. Deborah, you say your mobile is not functional. It's a mess. And I've sent in tickets. I cannot use it for ads. Work with those tickets. I mean, all I can do is show you, like, I don't have any special treatment on my pages. Like, it works, right? So you guys can see it. That is a very functional mobile website. Is it the best ever? No, but it's like 90% there. To be quite honest, it's 90% there. So all of your pages, my understanding, should look like that. If you're still having issues on your pages, it doesn't look like that. Something, I don't know, you could just be a one-off, so I'm sorry about that. Or maybe try creating a new page from scratch. Maybe some of the old pages don't work. But again, I created this page on Saturday, right? So they just added another patch in today. But you might just want to try creating a page from scratch, and maybe some of the old pages don't work. That would just be my advice. Or it could be something with your instance of float funnels. I don't know. But unfortunately, like, I can't troubleshoot technical issues. I'm not the guy in the background doing the coding, right? On a page, can an image be used as a background? Yeah. But again, you got to think about mobile, right? So we have that page here. Look how beautiful that looks. But on mobile, right? This Q&A box on mobile, it's almost just kind of like a blue background. So is it that important? I don't think so. I wouldn't spend time putting a background on it. I think it was just, look, try to be fast and efficient. You need a page that looks just like this. See that? We covered this Saturday. You got a headline, a sub-headline, an opt-in box, and some below the fold content. Keep it simple. Don't go crazy. If you can just master those things, if you can master adding a column, okay, which I think we can all add a column over here. It's not hard to go, okay, here's a column, right? And then you add a headline. And then underneath that headline, so that's a headline. Underneath that headline, we have a sub headline. That's three things. And then we're going to add the send pad form, okay, which I'm just going to close the code. Again, it's just pasting code. It's not that hard to do. And then we had some below the fold content there. So we might want to like put some text again. And you got to remember, like, I think we'd agree, headline, subheadline, and text are all the same thing, right? It's really all the same thing. And then we want to add an image or two. Again, that's just dragging and dropping an image, very easy to do. And then a navigation footer. So there's like 6 things, but like 3 out of the 6, one of them is a column. That's easy. And 3 out of the 6 are the same thing: headline, subline, headline, and text. Those are all basically the same thing. So the other 2 are an image and a form. There's 7: image, form, and nav bar. Those are the 7 things. There's more things on here that you can do to be fancy dancy, add a background, this, that, the other thing, but it's just completely unnecessary. Okay. And if you just have a page, again, that looks like this, it really is. I made this live on Saturday. So you guys watched me. It probably took me, and I'm talking, it probably took me a good 45 minutes or so to make the whole funnel start to finish. Page 1, 2, 3, processing, plus the offer, setting up a send pad form, so fine. If it takes you an hour, it takes you 2 hours, one time, big deal. It's 2 hours in your business. And then the next one might take you, you'll get faster, right? So anyways, we're getting some, sorry, I'm scrolling down the questions. I got some zinc and vitamin D, and thanks guys. I will, I love that. We'll hit Casey plus Tevin at halftime, live bet. Awesome stuff, man. Bet you got good odds on that. I'm actually like, I should put a course together, not to tout my own horn, but I should put a course together on, I don't know if it's legal, but it might be a little, I don't know, gambling is kind of accepted these days, but I'm pretty good at it. I bet $500 on the Raptors, Toronto Raptors, NBA champs, 2019, 2020, whenever the hell that was. When was that? When did the Raptors win the championship? 2019. They had 2 million people downtown Toronto for that parade. The bus was moving like an inch a second. And there's 3 million people that live in Toronto. So it was like crazy. It was like our first championship in 30 years or something like that. I guess the Jays won it in 92, 93. So it would have been like 26 years. But I put $500 on the Raptors to win game 6 in Golden State, and I ended up turning that into $12,000. And people are like, well, you got money and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I started with $500, like everyone could, not everyone, $500 is, it's still money. But I turned that into just strictly betting on NFL games. And then this year was a little dicey. One of the things I like to do, I'll stop talking about this in a minute. And we'll go a little longer now because I'm going off into some gambling, but I like to bet on games where you get like 1.3 odds. And it's like the Packers will play the Lions. I'm like, the Lions we've always beat the Lions. I'm a Packers fan. We're going to crush them. And Packers were garbage this year. So I lost a lot of money in the beginning and I stopped being stupid. And I walked away with $1,200 profit by the end of the season. But anyways, I like gambling on football. It's not gambling if you win. But anyways, that's just me being silly. Advertiser identity verification with Microsoft. Do I need to provide a business website? No, you can just, like I say, you can ignore that. If you don't have a domain, it's not necessary. If you don't have a business name, just put your first name, last name. Actually, for people on my sore throat, I took some ibuprofen last night, and this was the first morning I woke up that I didn't have a sore throat. So clearly I got some sort of inflammation back there. So I feel like I'm just going to take ibuprofen like morning and night for maybe a few days. And, after the webinar Wednesday, I'm just going to chill on my voice. I got my kids coming. I don't know how hard that's probably going to be a little hard, but anyways. I know the defender said he held, but that's a classy thing to say. But I think everybody watching that, unless you're like a diehard Chiefs fan, you're like, no, it was clearly a hold. I mean, it was so ticky-tack. It's probably one of the best Super Bowls ever. Just the back and forth, the offense, was really, really good. And then to have the game come down to that ticky-tack hole. I'm a neutral observer. I'm happy I won my money, but I just wanted to watch like a good Super Bowl. It was such a crap ending, but anyways, that was my thoughts. My offer has a 3-question quiz, and I wonder why we were taught to make a similar quiz on our lander. Kind of redundant. No, I have told you guys, that's a good point, Joseph. I would test doing the 3-step lander. And also I would test just going to an opt-in page. So we could do step 1, step 2, step 3. That's one thing you test, or we could just go straight to step 3. Test them both. But I would always say, I never even look at the offer on the back end. I might look at the colors and stuff. I don't care. I don't go and be like, this is too long. It's not going to convert. Why would I look at that? It's not up to me to say, I don't think I would put my information in there. I just look at the EPC and max bounty. I look at the colors and I'm like, okay, this looks like a decent offer. I give it a test. And if it gives me good revenue, I don't really care, right? So you'd be surprised. Customers will go through these steps and they'll go through more steps. Again, remember, they are searching on Google for what you have, or Microsoft or Bing or whatever, right? So they might go and say cheap, affordable healthcare. They go through your quiz funnel, they enter the email in, and they got more questions. They've already gone to the point where they think they're getting cheap healthcare. They're going to continue through. So don't worry about that so much. On Saturday, you were using your VPN while working on your forms and everything. Yeah, that's fine. Just don't ever use your VPN to log into an ad account. That's the only time you really don't want to do that. SendPad cannot delete a contact. How to delete a contact in the list? Hold on. I think there's a way, if I'm not mistaken, because I had the same thing the other day. List. Contacts. There we go. So from here, I would check the box and I would delete. Okay. So let's see, Bill Purcell here. Check the box. I'm making a big video on this week. Press delete and he's gone. Okay. There you go. But there's no way to actually go into the contact itself, right, and delete it from this screen. Okay, not yet anyways, but there is a way to delete it. So good point, because I had that on my list too. I was like, crap, you can't delete a contact. And then the team was like, well, we talked about, they gave me crap. They're like, we talked about this and you said we didn't need it there and you could just put it here. And I was like, oh, all right, well, I guess I did say that. So I was like, okay, well, we have other things to work on. So I think you'd agree, adding a delete button here. It's really nice. It makes sense. But, there's other things we got to work on here. So for now, we'll just check the box and so on. The other thing I want to add is a search button, right? So once I have 100,000 contacts, if somebody's like, hey, I want to bet deleted, it's going to be hard to find them through here, right? So anyways. people ask this, and I'm not sure I follow the logic of like, would you talk about CPA grip and ClickBank offers? Like, can I ask why? Like, it doesn't really matter, I would say, of like whether I'm showing max bounty or not. The principle is the same, because I could demo like 87 different CPA accounts and there's no difference. Like, what changes? What do you want me to say about ClickBank or CPA grip that I'm already not saying about max bounty? Everything is still the same. Just imagine like different colors. It's the same thing, you know? So, you know, there's not really much for me to add other than saying the exact same things I've been saying all this time, but just using the word CPA grip instead of max bounty. You know what I mean? That's just my thoughts on it. Like, if there's something specific about CPA grip that you want to know, I suppose they don't have EPCs like max bounty does. So choosing an offer, you kind of just gotta, you know, like the logic I gave Saturday, use, is this easy? Does it solve a customer's problem easily? And so on. Same thing with ClickBank. Okay. And then it's a matter of just testing. There's not much more. I'm not trying to be like mean or anything, but like, I'm also trying to be efficient and like keep the videos from like, there's already 20 videos a week. So I could add 50 if you want, but I also don't think it's valuable to cover every last nook and cranny of things. It's more important for you to understand the overall overarching concepts and get out there and do the work, right? Please explain how to use your email list. Yep, we're going to be talking about that this week. Vast majority of people are just starting ads and stuff, and money's starting to come in and things like that, and your list is starting to grow. But last week was all about getting Microsoft optimized and adding some emails in. It was already got up to like 15, 20 videos or something like that. And it was like, should I add more about broadcasting? So there's gonna be a lot of videos on that this week of how we're going to leverage our email list for money. Okay. You can't really, I mean, you could, but you're not really going to email your list until you're at like 500 to 1,000 contacts anyways. And we'll see why this week. But anyways. For ads, you showed how you trim keywords where CPAC is too expensive. Do you also have a threshold for spend without a click? Yeah, that's a good question, Matthew. It's usually, well, first of all, I mean, without a lead, I think is you mean, because there's no such thing as spending if you haven't had a click. So I think you mean like, how much would you go on for it before you have a conversion? You know, 20, 10 to 20. You want to be pretty aggressive on that. Like, if I have a keyword where I have 20 clicks, but no conversions, it's got to go off like even around 10 or 15. So be a little bit more aggressive on that. If on an offer, the email is gray lined out, then is it an offer we cannot run? It just means you can't email it. Again, you can always ask your affiliate manager, say, hey, I really want to email this offer. Can I give you some creatives, like some email examples? And can we do it? And from there, they might say no, but that doesn't matter because, for example, if you're running in the survey space, there's plenty of survey offers that do allow email. So you could run traffic to an offer that allows search, but not email. And then on your email list, you could just email all the offers that allow email, right? So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Can you please explain thoroughly CTR conversion, pay per lead? I did that I mean, we've done that multiple times. I got to just refer you back to the training. Actually, it's like one of the very first videos, right? I don't want to be rude, but you know, the stuff is in the training, right? So here's one about like what CPL is all about in module 1. This one, action steps, tick off these. Let's go in here. It's in here somewhere. Maybe it's module 2, module 1, module 2. There's some stuff. And I know we did some stuff on module 4 where we show the ads, the columns. Go here, setting up your columns. And right under here, there's a whole download files, key metrics you need to know what they are. Okay. So it's all here, guys. It's all here. I got to start putting the onus back on you too. You know, I get it, you know, but like if the stuff is in the training, you know, look at the training, you know, like I don't know how else to say that thing. I love you to death, but sometimes it's like, hey man, it's right there. I need you guys to take a little bit of accountability too. Okay, let's keep going. Do we have an opportunity to also make profit on our ads? Yes, you can, of course. I also sometimes I find my words get picked at on the webinars. I'm like, yeah, if you broke even, it'll be good. And then they'll be ticket open. Well, Sean says I can only break even, so this business model doesn't work. No, I didn't say that. I said, our long-term goals, we really want to build a big list, and there's going to be more money in that list, which is just the truth. Don't twist my words out of control. Of course, you could double your money on ads. It's possible for sure. I'm just trying to set the expectation of how I run my business and how at scale, likely your business will run like that as well. Okay. Yeah. Celeste says, I want to be a bookie. I like to take the bookies for their money anyways. That's funny. Do we need a disclaimer on our step 3 page to explain that the people will go to an offer? Yeah, we're going to talk about adding disclaimers under your email this week. We didn't really do that because we haven't really been mailing offers yet. Everything is sort of in steps. The videos can get long every week, but that is something that we will be covering this week. So thanks, Bettina. I generated my link from an offer, but it gave me a strange page. I'm going to guess, Letty, that when you're checking the page from Max Bounty, you're not in America, and that's why you're seeing a random page. Can you show how to center a button properly? Webinar I did on Saturday, and watch the training. Watch the training. It's in there, man. It's in there. Got to put it back on you, Kevin. Not trying to call you out, but it's in there. Check it out. How to delete a suppressed contact. Once the contact's suppressed anyways, you don't get charged for it, and they never get mailed, so there's no need to delete it. How do you delete an autoresponder? Just go to autoresponder and deactivate it. Boom. I don't know if you can delete it, but you don't need to. Just leave it as inactive. And another thing too, don't focus on stuff that's not revenue. I want to actually just give a little, as we're getting close to the end here, I want to give a little, pep talk around revenue generating activities, right? We do get tickets sometimes. There was a bunch, I had somebody from support. I love them. This isn't a shot at the support guy because he's just trying to help you guys, right? I'm seeing a lot of tickets about people really wanting to have a name insertion on the email. And that would be if I wrote it out an email that said, right now we can just say hey, thanks for signing up, on our autoresponder, blah, 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 right? Sincerely, Sean Agnew, CEO, rent to own, whatever, right? Okay. So that's, this is your follow-up email. And, in other autoresponders, and we're working on it, you could put in a tag that says something like first_name, and that will tell SendPad to go pick the name from the contact list so that when the email goes out, it says, hey, Jim, hey, Sarah, and so on and so forth. And people are opening up tickets on that. It's a wonderful suggestion, and it's on our list. But having this here doesn't make you extra money. It's nice, it's personal, and it might make the user on the other end go, oh, okay. But whether you say, hey, first name, or just, hey, I can promise you your revenue is the same. So there's no value in you focusing on stuff like that. There's no value in focusing. I'm not saying that's what the person who just asked this question is, but there's no value on being I can't delete an autoresponder. Well, you can make it inactive. It doesn't make you any money. So we want to be focusing, guys, on revenue generating activities. It doesn't matter if you can't, adding a background image on the page is difficult, or you don't have a first name tag, or you can't delete the autoresponder, or whatever. What you need to focus on is finding an offer, researching keywords, researching what your competition is doing, creating a very simple page that looks like this. Okay. Don't worry if you think that the offer on the back end might not convert. Just get your ass in gear and go. Trust the process, simplify it, and move. Money loves speed. Don't sit around on your hands worrying about things that just aren't generating money. I gotta really hammer that message home. And this happens all the time. It's natural. I get it. You're new to this business. You're like, well, I don't know. This offer looks like crap, and I think emails will open a lot more. Somebody was even like, this business model will not work at all unless I have the ability to add in the first name. And it's that is just not true, So like, I want you guys to ask as many questions as possible. And there's no such thing as a stupid question. I'm not calling anybody stupid. I'm not putting you down. I want you to focus on revenue generating activities. And we kind of talked about this in a mindset minute recently, right? When you get up in the morning and you're working on your business and you only have an hour in that day, do you really care about like making a perfect background color? It's not going to move the needle. You know what I mean? Let's focus on the things that are actually going to move the needle. It's like if you're trying to like lose weight and, you go to the gym, and when you're at the gym, you only have an hour, but you're at the gym and then you're on your phone and then you're sauntering around and then you're talking to your friend. And then before you know it, you did like 2 lifts. And then you wonder why you're not growing, right? Like if you go to the gym with a plan and you're like, okay, I got 1 hour. I'm going to just like put my headphones on. I'm going to focus. I'm not going to talk to anybody. You go do your sets or whatever. That's how you're going to get results, right? It's the same thing. Don't walk through the business, worrying about the wrong things. Okay. It's like a question again. I'm not going to call anybody else. In the terms of service in the middle, it says created by the generator under the website section. Do we delete that or not? Again, let me ask you a question. Do you think that, first of all, anybody ever clicks on the terms of use button, right? Probably not. Okay. And then when they do click on it, do you think they read word for word? Probably not. Like 1 out of 1,000 people might. So let me ask you the question back to you. Do you think it impacts your revenue, your ability to make money, if somewhere in this this terms of service, it says created by the generator? Let's actually look that one up. Okay. Not mad. I'm not trying to call anyone out. I'm just trying to make a good point for you guys that I think is going to be very critical to your success. Okay. So over here, sometime in the middle, it says created with the help of free terms. Why are we even asking that question? Why are we even looking at that? Like, I would sit there and say that to find that, you would have had to like you would have spent time looking at all your terms. That time could have been better spent finding ads, right? Let's maximize our time here and focus on the things that actually matter. You know what I mean? You're not going to get suspended or something. Like, don't worry, get over your fear and just like go. That's how you're going to get results in this business. Okay. I got to hammer that home. That's how you're going to get results in all aspects of your life in general. Okay. That's what I would sit there and say. Okay. Hopefully that sense. I'm not trying to be hard on you. Okay. Sometimes, I'm just a very blunt, I'm friendly, but I can be blunt, and maybe I come across as a jerk sometimes. I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to just be like, trust me on this. It's not going to help you. Like, let's move past it. Okay. Maybe there needs to be a better annotating of what info is in what module. Could I point it back at you to say, when you watch a video, I got to you're right. We do lots of things though, right? Again, I'm not trying to be defensive or anything, but like, so it's a great point. But we have the modules, you get access to the PDF files. There are timestamps. There's like, if I go to module 1 here and I look at not the webinar, hold on. And I look at like, what is CPA marketing? There are files here. There's a video. Here's FAQs. Here's the notes on it. Okay. There's action steps of things that you need to do. And then there's one other thing that I need to put the onus on you. You have a pen and a paper. You can take notes, right? So like, I don't know, if you were in university, just throwing it back at you, because a lot of us have been to college, right? If you go to university and you sit in a lecture, the professor will tell you to read a textbook. He'll do a PowerPoint slide. He'll probably give you access to the PowerPoint slide, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you went to that lecture and then later on, you ask the professor questions over and over about that lecture, he's going to say, dude, didn't you read the book? Didn't you go to lecture? Like, it's up to you to take notes, right? If you wrote the test and you failed, are you going to go back to the professor and be like, well, you didn't make notes all over my textbook on everything that was in the chapter. You know what I mean? So at some point, like, we've given you all the things. Like, you watch the video, you could write a note down that says, all right, at 2 minutes in, Sean talks about this, and now I know, right? So I got to put a little onus back on you, right? But I think a lot of the stuff's here. I don't know what else we could do. Again, not trying to be defensive, but you could take some notes too. I don't think we're doing a bad job. So, it's kind of all there, guys. It is kind of all there for you, Yeah, that's all I can say. There's the action steps, there's files, download the notes. Okay, let's download this. Look at the PDF here. You get all the slides for that week. Okay. I don't know, man. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. I understand. And then the same person says, I just feel a little overwhelmed. So again, I'm not trying to be hard on you. Okay. I'm not saying you're stupid or bad or anything like that. I understand that, I understand sitting in I've sat in lectures and it can be overwhelming, right? But again, what I would sit there and suggest is if you're feeling overwhelmed, right? We're watching this video. We have the video here. We have action steps. We have a webinar. We have files. All that stuff's very helpful. I think what I would do is just watch along. I would press pause, whatever works for you. So for me, I would sit in lectures and I would never take notes. It doesn't, because I'm not like some smart ass. It's just, I'm a very visual learner. I don't like to read. I like to listen, because if I read, my mind just like goes off in 50 different directions. And then it's like, oh crap, I just read 4 pages, but I didn't absorb what I read. And so when the professor was lecturing and I was taking notes, I wouldn't really absorb what the professor was saying. I'd just be writing notes. And so I eventually got to the point where I would sit there like this and I had a professor be like, hey, I noticed you're not taking notes. Is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm just a visual learner. And I would get B+ and A's all through university. It's just how I learned. But if you're the type that's feeling a little overwhelmed, I would just submit to you to just take your time. Like most of the videos in here, if you watch it on normal speed, are like 90 minutes a week. Maybe watch it twice if you need to. Slow it down, pause it, take some notes down, make your own system of notes so that you can follow along, right? That's what I would suggest you do. And just take your time on the business and recognize that, millions aren't going to fall out of the sky overnight. It's a business, right? So there's a process to it. And just take your time and take your notes. And I do appreciate I do empathize, it's a new subject. There's making pages and ads, and there's different topics here that can feel overwhelming at times. But everybody learns differently. And, I think it's really just up to you guys to go beyond everything here and do what works for you that's going to help you memorize this stuff, right? And sometimes it means just watching it over and over, doing it over and over until it becomes like second nature, right? Awesome. Anyways, I see that I'm not trying to get praise out of people or be defensive. I'm trying to just like, I get it. Everybody's a different learning style. We have to understand that as well, right? So for me, what I make videos and I think it's amazing. Other people might be like, he talks too fast and there's just not enough. My English is a little slower, which happens to. It's totally, I empathize, guys. I do. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, it is in the training and I can't just keep answering the same question over and over and over. I kind of got to point a little bit back onto you, right? So, okay. There you go. Larry says for notes, his thing is screenshots with brain notes afterwards. And that's awesome too, right? Like Larry that's a great thought. I think maybe as I'm going on here, hold on, let me turn my voice off. Maybe this is something you're like, okay, he made a really good point about the ad. You take Gyazo here. It's a free screenshot tool, right? And you just boom. Okay. So you can do that. And now I have this little screenshot here. Okay. Boom. You can save it on your desktop. You can go to Google Docs if you want, or some sort of notepad. Docs.google.com. And we could, just create a new document. Where is it here? Maybe somewhere here. There's a plus sign, I think. Oh, it's in the bottom right, being covered up by my Zoom screen. There it is. Right. And so I could maybe then just like copy the image. I come over here, paste it. There we go. Right. And you could just be like notes, Sean said this here, and, module 1, video 2, timestamp, 2:37 or something, right? Boom. Now you have it. Okay. Now you have it and you can turn it into something, your own learning thing. So that's how I would approach it. Almost look at this as if I was like giving a lecture in a college, right? And it's like, yeah, the videos are there. You get the slides, you get the notes. We do give you action steps. You get webinars. We go over this stuff over and over. So beyond that, it's like, how do you learn and absorb the information? Everybody's different. And we give you like 8 different ways. But, you know, if you need to make notes, you know, and just take your time with it so that you absorb it and understand it. Okay. And don't be overwhelmed. Everybody's a little different. And Sadamatar, I see your notes. The students are telling you are not being helpful and we learn differently. I do. Look, I appreciate that there are some people here that, you know, are a little overwhelmed. But what I can say to you, you don't see the question box. I do. The vast majority are, the vast majority are very happy with how things are. So I get that there's some frustration. I'm never going to be able to please everyone, right? I could give you 87 different ways and like transcripts in like French and English and Spanish. And then there's going to be one person out there that's all pissed off because it's not in Hindi or something, or, you know, what can I do? You know, like, I think we do a very good job, and, you know, kind of is what it is. And, you know, don't be frustrated. You know, I get the money that's been spent and all that stuff, but, you know, we're here for you. We're giving you everything we possibly can. And so on. So that's that. There you go, Corey. You're going into detail on a Corey's calling me out. I love this. You're going too far into a non-income generating activity. Good point. Okay, on to the next one. All right. There you go. Trello. Actually, that's a really good. Thank you, Bebe. One last point, but Trello is a really good like cards-based thing that you can get as well. I think it has a free thing. It's a good like note-taking. And there's Evernote is another one as well. Okay. I'm using a different funnel tool. How do I cancel float funnels? There's no cancel button right now. So like when you go to the billing, I don't want you guys to be worried about SendPad or float. There's like, we just needed a way to get everybody in. But there will be a billing section here before day 101. You'll be able to go cancel. We'll give you lots of notice. Okay. Nobody's just going to just give me your trust. Okay. I haven't led you wrong yet. I'm very, very honest and open. Nobody from SendPad or float is just going to charge you without you being told many times beforehand. This is the plans you have. This is what it's going to cost. If you need to cancel, here's the button you push. Don't worry. And if somehow you got charged incorrectly, we'd refund it immediately. So don't worry about it. You're good. Okay. We'll take care of you. But good point. Okay. All right. In comparison to other courses, 1, 2, 3, profit is really nailing. Oh yeah. Sorry. I don't like to read stuff like that off. I'd rather read the people that challenge me. I'm here, man. Challenge me. You know, I don't get offended at all. So I want to help the challenging. I appreciate the praise coming through the question box, but I don't need to like read that off to like prove my point or something. Do you always have to, oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong button here. Do you always have to send your landing page to the affiliate manager for approval? No, if you're already approved, you're good. But if you're not approved, then you would want to send them to the page and be like, hey, I know I'm not approved for this offer yet, but I want to get approved. Here's the page, et cetera, et cetera. All right. On my first offer, I had 165 clicks, but max bounty only 8 clicks. Therefore, not many went through my funnel and no leads. What should I test first? Headlines, button ads. Okay, we're going to cover that this week. But I did cover it in module 3. All right, where we talked about some minor do's and don'ts. I think if you ran that many clicks, you just went a little bit too many clicks. 8 conversions on 165. You should have paused a lot earlier, because that's proof in the pudding that your landing page is just not converting well. So either your keywords aren't congruent with your page, or your page needs improvement, kind of thing. So, you know, make sure you want to always reassess after about 50 clicks. You know, 50 clicks come in and your opt-in rate is like below 15% or so, you probably want to pause everything altogether. Okay. And we do talk about that in this module 321 and then all through module 4. So just wanted to say that part. But in terms of what you need to test for optimizations, we will cover that in a little bit more detail this week. Okay. You talk about the flow in the ad landing page offer. Can you be a little bit more specific there, Yasser? And I'll be happy to answer. Have you addressed the processing page creation challenge yet? I'm not sure about that. It could, if you're, so Kim, maybe you could be a little bit more specific. But one thing that on Saturday was pointed out by Angela, who was the star of the day there, is that if you paste the processing page code, okay, and same with the UET tag, you paste anything here. For example, if I delete this, if I paste it, you want to add a character, pick a character, I don't know, the number 8, okay, and then delete it, and now it'll save. But if you just paste it and save it, it'll disappear. It's a bug. I don't know why, but it's a very simple fix. Just paste it, press a button, delete it, and save. Silly, but that will always work 100% time. Okay, so we figured that out on Saturday. So I think that's what you're, Kim, if I missed something beyond that, let me know. But if that's what you're referring to, that is fixed up. And by the way, just in case somebody asked earlier and I'm already here, if you want to know how to center something, just click on the div, see, click, typography, left, center, left, center, left, center. There you go. Okay, very simple. Do you know why my CPA offer links on my first page are blocked by a Trojan message? It could be your ad blocker or software or something like that, Gary, but that would, if it actually is happening, that might be a question for CPA Grip themselves. Will we be going over Google? Yep, we will be talking a little bit about Google this week. And then more in the coming weeks as well. It'll be sort of like Microsoft. We'll talk about Google this week, get you like set up, and then next week we'll go into more advanced stuff and so on and so forth, okay? Does Microsoft optimize over time? i.e., is there some pixel learning and optimizing over time? So is it worth running some same time of offer and expect improvement over time? Yes, Lena, that's a good question. We cover that in the optimization module 4, specifically where we go from like how to move from enhanced CPC to target CPA and why and when you would want to do that. Enhanced CPC is more often than not going to perform worse than target CPA. So once you're able to get 50 conversions, 50 leads per week, okay, then you want to switch from enhanced CPC to target CPA. And when you do the target CPA, you want to bid at 20% lower than what you've been paying. So if I've been paying $2 a lead, my bid would be $1.60, right? 20% or 20% of $1.60 is 40 cents. So 2 minus 40 is $1.60. Okay. That's what you want to be. Target CPA is the ultimate goal. But unless you're getting 50 conversions, 50 leads a week, you're not giving Bing enough data to use target CPA. All right. So that is the key there. So start at enhanced CPC. When you get 50 conversions a week, switch to target CPA, and your target CPA bid should be 20% less than your paid cost per lead. Okay. Kim, if that's not working for you, I'm not sure. I mean, I can't recreate that myself. Every time I've done the pasting of the code and added a character and deleted it, it's worked for me. But that might make a Loom video to support and get in there and see if maybe there's something going on. Okay. Page slug in SEO settings changes the URL. Doug, I'm loving this, man. You see, I love members. Okay. So I guess apparently Doug is saying in the page title, so this page here is called processing 2. Okay. So Doug, are you saying if I move, there we go. If I go here and I go to the SEO setting and I call this processing 13 for fun, maybe press the save button. Hopefully that's saved. That it should publish now as processing 13. It didn't seem to work for me. But also, let's see if it even saved. Oh, it did. Page slug. My bad. I put in the wrong thing. Okay. There you go. There you go. Doug for the win. This is going to change it, isn't it? Oh, yeah. For sure that's going to work. Look at that. Doug, you're the man. Okay. So there you go. You guys ever want to change your page URL? Then you just go to settings, SEO setting, page slug. Oh, so great. I'm just going to mark that down. Page slug changes URL. Man, that was great. Good stuff. Thanks, Doug. My $25 budget is being spent in the first hour, 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. Should I change something? Yes. Again, I'm going to answer these questions just because I think it's helpful. We cover this in module 4 and module 3, basically, of what's happening if you're spending money too fast. You're probably overbidding. So just drop your bids down. Your cost per click bids are probably too high. Doug's like, page slug. He's like yelling at me because I'm putting in the wrong thing. Thanks, Doug. Doug gets a free coffee. You're the man, Doug. All right. Thanks, guys, for coming out. I think the takeaways I would like here is like revenue generating activities. I get caught in it too. I have a little bit of OCD. I really do. It's like the other day I was talking to the team and giving them praise, and I'm just like on the float hosting, and I'm like, ooh, when I go to enter in my, hold on one sec, let me log out here. When I enter my password here and I click the enter button, it doesn't go. I'm like, oh, that drives me nuts. But then I was like, well, they have a million things to fix, not a million, but they have other things to fix. Am I really going to like bug them about the fact that I need to click the login button versus pressing enter? And then I had my guys the other day on my CPA business, and they were making a page for me. And when I pressed the submit button, it didn't have like a spinning wheel, and it then went to the next page. And I was like, I need a spinning wheel. And I just felt stupid. Like, does a spinning wheel really gonna do anything for the business? No, it's not. So I get caught in it too. I get caught up in it. Sometimes I'll be like making a page, and sometimes I'll spend time, hours, just like, okay, I'm going to organize all my bookmarks here. I was like, why? This doesn't make me any money. Like, what am I doing? I'm just like, I spent 2 hours reorganizing my bookmarks. And what did that actually do other than like appease my OCD? So revenue generating activities, I can't stress that enough. And then like, it's okay if you're feeling a little overwhelmed and like learning at your own pace and taking notes. And I get it. You're probably a few weeks into the program. You might be a little bit behind. You might be frustrated, but like, just having a little bit of perspective, having a why, setting goals, we cover that stuff, having the mindset to realize I'm here for the long haul. We're a few weeks in. I'm a little frustrated at making pages maybe, but you know what? I'm new to this stuff. It's okay. Feeling the frustration. I covered this on Saturday, the neutral circumstance thing, right? Like feeling frustrated. And then like after you felt frustrated and you felt bad and sad or whatever, the logic is able to come back, and you're able to talk to yourself and be like, you know what? It's frustrating, but things are going to be okay. And in the long run, we're going to have a good business here. Like when you have that mindset, you're able to get past that frustration, and so on and so forth. Okay. So revenue generating activities, learning at your own pace. And it's okay if you're a little overwhelmed. That's natural. I get overwhelmed when I start new things too. Okay. So long story short, guys, thanks for coming out. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Okay. 4 Eastern, not 11, 4 Eastern. Got to switch things up, and just some stuff came up in the morning for me. I'm actually like on a plane ride back to Toronto, so that's why. But we'll talk tomorrow. So thanks for coming out, guys. Take care.